Welcome to another video in this series of Better Riding. Today we're going to talk about corner speed. Corner speed is a huge problem with bike accidents. I'm joined with Dan from MCN, so let's get into it.
So Giles, you mentioned already, crashes on bends and sort of various issues associated with going around corners on motorbikes. So, what is the actual issue and how do we resolve that?
So I think the biggest problem I see is a mindset, and it's the mindset of the rider with speed in a bend. And that mindset is often trying to go around a corner as quickly as they can, rather than a mindset of tee up my exit and get a good exit drive out the bend. So a lot of work that I would do would be with a rider, understanding the line around a bend, which let's talk about in a minute, and the sense of speed where the middle of the corner might be relatively conservative. So other things I want to talk about definitely would be brakes versus gears. Can we have that conversation? And this idea of out the corner, but not around the corner. And it's that bit in the middle of the bend that sometimes I'm following a rider and I'm thinking, oh my Lord, and it's because they're trying to go in it, around it, and out of it quickly, rather than this controlled entry, a very easy middle of the bend, and then a really good exit. So that's the thing that we need to work on with a lot of the clients.
So it sounds to me then that there's perhaps a common misconception where some riders are trying to go through a corner as fast as possible. Actually, in reality, they should perhaps slow down a little bit in order to get a better exit.
Yeah, definitely. So look, I secretly know that sometimes I'll have a client on a 1 litre sports bike, and I know that they're looking in their mirror and they're thinking, how is this coach staying with me on my little naked middleweight? And I'm giving up 50, 60 brake horsepower to them.
Yeah.
And quite often they are holding me up on my exit. And I know that they're thinking, what am I doing wrong? What's he doing? Why is he able to do that? How's he still with me? And it's because their whole corner process is different to mine. I think the interesting sort of irony of that technique is that not only is it quicker, but it's safer as well. And that's the bit that I sort of really want to stress with the client. Don't you see that what you're doing is slower and it's a gamble? You are carrying all this mid-corner speed, and if there's some gravel around the corner, there's a junction that you haven't seen, there's an oncoming car that you've misread, you can't deal with it very well.
No.
If you've got that sort of ideology of take it easy in the middle of the bend, tee up your exit, be on a more modern line rather than that very old-fashioned racing line, not only will you be quicker and you'll have more performance, but you're safer too. That's the big thing.
So you just mentioned there a couple of times about there being an optimum line then, perhaps different to a racing line, as some people might think. So what actually is that?
Picture in your mind a classic old-fashioned racing line. Imagine a small little track 125. It's got no grunt. It carries corner speed. Well, that's what a lot of road riders do. They want to carry corner speed. And to carry corner speed, they're likely to take that old-fashioned racing line that sort of turns in early, has an apex, runs out wide. Well, on the road, you don't want to be doing that. You want to run it in a little bit deeper, slow it down a little bit, turn the bike, point it in the right direction, and drive the bike out. The win-win on the road is the whole vision gain, the see further into the corner, the be seen by other traffic element. And the other win-win is you're teeing up this exit. You're not gambling corner speed on a public road. So in a previous video, we were talking with Saffron on left-hand bends. Can you imagine going into a left-hander too quickly, too much corner speed, running wide on your exit, oncoming traffic? That's the game that we're trying to get road riders to understand. Don't carry mid-corner speed. Tee up your bike for a good exit.
So it's all well and good then sort of thinking about the theory of slowing things down for a better exit, but how does a rider actually know the optimum speed to come into a corner to then go around it safely?
There are two things to think about, two things. One's a visual thing, one's a machine control thing.
Okay.
The visual thing, limit points are a great way of fine tuning and assessing a bend. So it's that vertical line, that hedge meets hedge, that is it running away, is it not? Is my speed sort of marrying the rate at which the limit point is unraveling? Or am I coming into it quicker than the rate at which the limit point unravels? So tune into that. Find your limit point. What's the limit point doing? That's the visual thing. The machine control thing, I still see a lot of riders that are really keen to judge speed on their bike on sort of gears and throttle and see it as a bit of a badge of honor that they can ride a road for miles and miles without using their brakes.
Okay.
Understand, if I'm coming into a bend going gear, gear, it will give me what it gives me, and I can't really control the finished product. The cusp of being very comfortable in a bend and everything is lovely and ooh, the cusp between those two things is not 15, 20 mile an hour, it's 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So if you're coming into a bend going gear, gear, you might be 5 mile an hour too quick. And if you are 5 mile an hour too quick, that's probably going to drag you onto the racing line that we keep talking about.
Yeah.
If you understand that your brake lever is brilliant at controlling that very fine-tuned speed. So nobody's talking about how hard can I brake. We're not talking about how late can I brake. We're talking about a lovely, lovely touch of brakes. But what those brakes will do will be control your speed going in. So if you don't want to peel in early, you don't want to be on that racing line, and you just need to scrub off 3 or 4 mile an hour, this is the thing that will do that for you. But if you're going in gear, gear, you might arrive there and you're just 5 mile an hour too quick.
So tell me then, what are the main symptoms of actually carrying too much corner speed?
I guess it's that having a moment that, as bikers, we would all understand that language, having a moment in a bend. That real horrible, uncomfortable, I'm too fast here, I've just frightened myself with an oncoming car, I frightened myself on my exit. Having a moment. It should be that you're not having those. I don't want to sound arrogant, but I can't remember the last time I had one of those moments on a bend. In my early days I did, as a young motorcyclist I did, so I was learning my craft. Now I understand my craft, I don't get moments anymore. If you're a biker watching this video and you are still having moments, well, try and reflect on that, because you shouldn't be. So we were talking about managing speed in a corner, and the big talking point was don't carry too much corner speed. The thing to concentrate on is your exit, and if that means you go to the brakes and you get your speed down, you then have a very moderate mid-corner, but you then have a really good exit. I'm going to ride this at a very, very conservative pace, and then we'll come back and we'll do it at pace. What do we see? We see totting up, advanced warning, slow on the road, sharp deviation sign. It turns out to be a 90-degree bend. So when I do it at speed, this bit here, right now, easy. And then a nice exit and drive out the corner. Let's go and do it at pace and see how it feels. So
So here we are back on a bend, and this time we're going to do it at normal road pace. So I'm in a national, coming down to a 40. Mirror check. Let's go to the brakes and control our speed going in. I'm going to overlap a gear. This part, easy, easy, easy. Here's my drive, and that's where you make your performance, coming out of the bend.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that video on corner speed. Join us again next time when we'll look at another aspect of better riding.